This is 1340 WJOL. Good morning. It's time for Money Talk, brought to you by our friends at NuMark Credit Union. Today, we're going to be talking about using your debit card safely and maximizing your checking. More on those two topics coming up for you in just a couple of moments. What I'd like to do, though, is tell you that if you're looking to make your money work harder for you, NuMark Credit Union has a great option for you. It's the ultimate high-yield checking. It's a free checking that pays interest to debit card users. Earn 5.5% APY on balances up to $25,000 and 1% APY on balances over $25K. Open an ultimate high-yield checking account today, 815-729-3211, or visit a NuMark office near you. So we're going to be discussing that checking account, I'm sure, and using your debit card safely. We'll be doing that here. We want to remind you that at the end of the program, NuMark has been nice enough to give us a $25 Visa gift card to give to a lucky listener. So be listening for the next several minutes, and we're going to get some information from Tracy, Mateo, or Marina, and that information will then be turned into a question that I will ask, you will answer, and if you're the correct caller, you're going to win $25 to spend. Tracy Szendzial is the NuMark Credit Union Card Services Manager. She joins us on the Turk Furniture studio line. Hey, Tracy.
Hi, good morning, Scott.
Thank you very much for coming on. We appreciate it. Mateo Munoz also is here. He's a card services specialist. Hey, Mateo.
Hey, Scott. Good morning. How are you today?
I'm doing great. Thank you very much. And Marina Mendoza is here. She is also with NuMark Credit Union and Assistant Branch Manager. Hello there, Marina.
Hi, how are you, Scott? Good
awesome.
morning.
Well, you guys sound all fired up and ready to go.
We are.
All right, good. Well, let's go through you one at a time here. Tracy, let's start with you. Tell everybody about your role at NuMark as the Card Services Manager.
Sure, Scott. So basically, I manage the card services department. I dabble in a little operational function. I lead the team for fraud and fraud prevention, really. So I have great people under me like Mateo to handle all the daily stuff, and I just overlook most of it.
Okay. Mateo, kind of get into a little bit what you do day by day.
I regularly just speak to members, help them with any of the process as far as their account being compromised, any fraud, their debit card questions, any of that.
Okay. And Marina.
So, Scott, my main objective is to find the best solutions for our members' financial needs. That includes our community, and I'm also constantly working to lead and coach my team so that we can all provide the greatest possible experience at NuMark.
There you go. That all sounds well and good. So let's get into using your debit card safely, maximizing your checking. Holiday season is here. I mean, Thanksgiving's in our rear view mirror. Now we look forward to Christmas time, and we're in the process of buying items for family members and friends. I'll kind of go around the horn here and ask all of you the same question. What are some ways we can protect ourselves from debit fraud, but also make sure that money stays in our bank accounts? Because one thing, Tracy, that we all know we do is spend too much money over the holidays. That goes without saying.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, I guess I'll start just on how you protect yourself. You want to make sure that when you've got that debit card, you get enrolled in home banking and protect yourself by rolling that card in card controls. That's going to allow you to set alerts and even limits on how much can be spent at one time. You're getting alerts if you spend over $50, say. I think really most importantly in the card alerts, the most important thing you can do is set the alert for denied transactions. In the fraud world, most times fraudsters will try those transactions for real small dollar amounts, and they get denied. So if you get the alert saying a transaction is denied, that puts you one step ahead of the fraudster. We can get that card closed down and get a new one out to you. It also allows you to turn that card on and off at your control. So if you happen to misplace it in all the holiday craziness, you can just shut it down until you find it.
That's a good idea. It might be a good idea to, if it is in the possession of the kids, to shut it down anyway, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. I think Marina's got some great ways that you can keep the money in your account.
There you go, Marina. Yeah. How do you keep that money in your account?
Yeah, I mean, to keep first, you want to actually look at your cashback features for purchases. Like Tracy mentioned, look at your banking, and then also keeping the money in there. It's good to always have a routine and look at your account every morning. You know, when you wake up, look and see where your account is, budget. Also, look at your pending transactions. And like we're mentioning, the high yield checking account, that's also going to be really good because you want to get that money back, you know. And then also track your spending. We have a money management tool and helps track your spending.
Yeah. All right. Very, very good tips for sure. Let's talk a little bit about the regular checking account and a high yield checking account. I kind of described it in general terms here, but let's get Marina a little bit closer look at regular checking versus high yield checking.
Absolutely. So the high yield, like you mentioned, we pay a higher interest. It's for our debit card users who doesn't want to get money back, right? Make your money work harder for you. So that's the purpose of the high yield. It actually also requires you to have at least $500 direct deposit and your debit card at least 12 times in the whole month. For me, that's actually a really great way to encourage our members to go into their home banking, budget, look at the transactions they've made, because it will help them stay consistent with their balances.
Right. And it is important to keep track of everything, isn't it? I mean, that minute by minute. I like one of the tips Tracy had earlier, too. You guys have a product that tells you when, that when there's a debit over a certain amount. I think that's very, very helpful. How, Tracy, are you going to kind of put this into perspective in terms of a credit card for a holiday purchase? Is it better to use a debit or a credit card for holiday purchase, or either or? Does it not matter?
Well, Scott, to be honest, I think you're okay to use either your debit or your credit card. It really depends on your personal preference, what your rewards are, what your budget is, right? Those high price items might go on a credit card that you can pay over slowly. Especially when you're in person, it really doesn't pay too much difference. You're going to use that card as a credit regardless in person. If you have a debit card and it has a Visa or MasterCard logo, the first thing we're going to tell you is to run that transaction as a credit. When you run it as a credit, you actually get the protection from the Visa or MasterCard that the card is backed by. NuMark is backed by Visa, so that means that our members have Visa 0% fraud liability on any unauthorized fraudulent activity. So if you run it as a credit, you have Visa behind you. If you do not run it as a credit and you use your PIN, fortunately, you can be susceptible to loss. So we always encourage you to use it.
Okay.
Also want to make sure that you're going to merchants that have the tap to pay or EMV technology. You don't want to go to any merchant that is still reading the magnetic stripe on your card, because that leaves you susceptible to be skimmed.
Yeah, how come all businesses haven't transferred over? Is that just them not wanting to make that investment? Because I had to swipe the other day, and I got to tell you, it felt weird.
Yes, it is. The merchant not making the investment. It is actually a requirement by both Visa and MasterCard that merchants have the EMV technology. So when they don't, they are taking the chance of fraud coming back to them.
I thought so. Mateo, let's talk about shopping online. That's always something that I think about. I don't like to give my debit card or shop online with my debit card. Does it really make a difference between debit or credit when we shop online?
Hey, necessarily. Here's what I would tell you. The safest way to this day to shop online is for you or our members to leverage digital wallets such as Apple Pay, Samsung Pay, or Google Pay. This streamlined approach not only eliminates the need for you to carry the actual physical card, but ensures you to be safe both in person and online, because it doesn't have the physical card up for somebody to get that information for you. And unfortunately, fraudsters do install skimmers, just like an ATM or a fuel pump, but except it's electronic, which inevitably kind of compromises your information and your data for them to use it for their personal extent.
What about, I know a lot of people shop Amazon and you have an Amazon card. That's pretty safe, right? Amazon will back you if anybody hacks in and gets your Amazon account?
So in this situation, yes, you can add it to like your Amazon account with your NuMark debit card or NuMark credit card, and you could use it like that. But we normally recommend people, just like Marina and Tracy had stressed earlier, to just be mindful and check your account, check what's coming out anyways.
Sure.
Because a lot of the times they keep it as a automatic payment. So maybe their children, like you said earlier, want something from Amazon, and then they grab their mom's or their father's phone, and then they end up ordering something for themselves.
That easy, isn't it?
Yeah, you guys have heard the stories, haven't you, about mom and dad sitting around at 11 o'clock at night and like $2,000 worth of stuff shows up?
Yep. We get those disputes for sure.
Oh, really? Yeah, do tell. I know. We don't want to. It's all confidential information.
That's right.
All right. So, Marina, besides online shopping, what other things can we do online with our checking account?
So there's a lot of checking perks, Scott. One of those could be like you can pay your bills online, manage your money, check balances. You mentioned card controls. One of the things I like personally myself is you can actually pay a person also and do transfers to and from other financial institutions. It also helps avoid any, having to come out to the bank and to travel. So online access is actually very crucial now. So a lot of things you can do, but those are the main ones. And it's also very safe.
Yeah. Marina, let's go back to something you said about transferring between financial institutions. Now, I have 3 different places that I bank for 3 strategic reasons. I have a savings account somewhere at a bank that I don't ever want to go to because I don't want to dip into that savings, if you know what I mean. Maybe good strategy, maybe bad strategy. I'm kind of old school. So you're telling me, and one thing I hate, though, when I do need money for tuition for my kids or something like that, I dread having to go to that bank. It's out of the way, sit in the drive-thru, fill out the form. So I can set up through my account at NuMark, I can set up a transfer between that bank and NuMark?
Correct. It's actually very simple. You'll need your information, of course, like routing and account number, but there is, we call it bill pay, implemented in our home banking, and that will give us access to do those transfers.
Much nicer, much nicer. That's good to know.
Yeah.
I was not aware of that. Tracy, how can NuMark help members prevent their debit card from being compromised? Obviously, one thing that when you're standing there putting your PIN in, make sure you don't do it in front of the world.
Right, we're always going to say, no matter what the technology is on those physical merchant terminals, ATM, fuel pumps, wiggle, jiggle, and touch everything so that nothing falls off. But additionally, every rule that we say applies around the holidays for holiday shopping, I implement those rules all year round. I don't let my card leave my presence in a restaurant. If a waitress wants to take it away to pay for it, I get up and I follow her, or I ask, can we pay a terminal that I can see? Normally that just means going to the bar to pay the tab. I also want to make sure that, like Marina has said, you're monitoring your account. Visa has very strict time limits from when you can report that fraud. So the faster you see unauthorized activity on your account and the faster you report it to the credit union, the faster we can, mitigate a loss for you and get that card shut down.
I give my debit card at restaurants all the time. Thank you for telling me that I shouldn't do that. I think I've heard that before, but obviously I wasn't paying attention because my radar just went off. You're right. And not that we don't trust people, but there's bad apples everywhere and bad actors everywhere. Somebody wants to go get some information, Tracy, off that card. It's easy for them to do, especially in the privacy of a back room.
Yep, absolutely. And, I never want to say, you should trust friends and family, but I am a stickler with, I don't even give my card information to my children. If I want them to have money, I transfer it to their own debit card or their own prepaid card. They can spend it how they want. My card is my information. I keep it as secure as possible to avoid any, compromise. It's the only way to do it.
Mateo, what, though, should a member of NuMark do if their credit card is compromised? Because it's going to happen.
Yeah, Scott. So the first thing that a member should do is, at the first sign of any unauthorized access to card controls and home banking, and shut the card down. This will stop any new non-recurring charges that weren't already in the card itself. The second thing is they could actually call us or call the number in the back of the card during business hours. And from there, we may ask for them to complete any necessary documentation that's needed if there is any loss. And they will also be able to get a new card. And after that, it's completely in the hands of the credit union to take care of it from there.
Okay. And Mateo, while we have you on this subject of debit card and trying to keep it safe, any tips on passwords? A lot of people will use their birthdays, their kids' names. Password is something that you should take very, very seriously and not just, throw up your birth date or whatever.
Absolutely, Scott. So the first thing that I normally recommend is only use a password for each account that you're, using. For example, like if you said you have 3 separate ones, don't use the same password for the same one for the next one, and don't make it any common or relevant information somebody can find out in the internet, because in this age of time we're living through, there's a lot of information that's public. So, for example, the first house that you ever lived at with your parents and the color of it, you would only know that.
Right.
So it's something that is relevant to your own persona and that you will remember yourself, and maybe, with the criteria requirements of passwords, a special character and maybe a couple numbers and a capitalized letter.
There you go. A password's a pretty good password too, right?
I'd stick away from that one.
I'm joking. I am joking. Guys, thank you so much. This was good today. We need a refresher on staying safe, because vigilance is the most important thing, and knowing at NuMark that you guys have our backs if and when, because it's going to happen if and when something happens. I had a debit card stolen from my locker at a fitness center, and next thing you know, all these charges start popping up. Thank goodness it was a card that was protected, so I was okay with that, but it's gonna happen. It's just a matter of not if, but when. Tracy, Mateo, and Marina, thank you so much. If I don't talk to you before Christmas, have a very Merry Christmas, and we appreciate your knowledge.
Thank you, Scott. Merry Christmas.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
You bet.
Happy holidays. Thank you.
Happy holidays and Merry Christmas to you all. All right, speaking of Christmas, I'm going to give you a chance to win a $25 Visa gift card right now. Compliments of our friends at NuMark Credit Union. Here is the question. True or false? When you have an account in NuMark, you can transfer money to other financial institutions. True or false? 815-254-7300. Caller 3 on the Turk Furniture Studio line, and then the first correct caller after that. Before we take our calls and get our winner, and I hope we do, looking to make your money work harder for you, we've been talking about this incredible Ultimate High Yield Checking Account. It's a free account that pays interest to debit card users. You can earn 5.5% APY on balances up to $25K and 1% APY on balances over $25K. Open an Ultimate High Yield Checking Account today at 815-729-3211 or visit a NuMark office near you. All right, caller number 3. 1, 2, 3. Let's go right here. Hi, good morning. You're on WJOL. Who is this?
Terry Perkins.
Terry Perkins. How are you, Terry Perkins?
I am fine, and you?
I'm okay. Terry, simple question today, I think anyway. True or false? If you have an account in NuMark, you can set it up to where you can transfer money to and from that other bank that you're a member of also, or a customer of also.
That is true.
That is exactly right. And Terry Perkins, you have yourself $25 Visa gift card. It is waiting at the NuMark branch in Crest Hill. Are you aware of that location?
Yes, I am.
Okay, just go in anytime, show them your driver's license, and they'll give you a $25 Visa gift card.
Thank you, Scott. Have a great day.
Thank you, Tracy. Great day to you, too, and happy holidays. We need to start saying that. It's after Thanksgiving. Congratulations to Tracy Perkins. And that is going to wrap up another edition of Money Talk, brought to you by our friends at NuMark Credit Union.